Universal Casualty, Super Q,
los Miami Dolphins y tú rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Son los Dolphins, nuestros Miami Dolphins, el team número 1 en toda la nación. Y son ellos orgullo de Miami y de todos los latinos en la capital del sol. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Este año no me hablen de los Redskins, no me hablen de los Chargers, ni de los Dallas Cowboys, porque los Dolphins son número 1 y lo demostrarán al llegar al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Nuestra línea está mejor que nunca y nuestra defensiva fue siempre la mejor. Y es por eso que yo no tengo duda que los Miami Dolphins ganarán el Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, con los Miami Dolphins, rumbo al Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins me voy para el Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins me voy para el Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins me voy para el Super Bowl. Con los Miami Dolphins me voy para el Super Bowl.
Universal Casualty
Y Super Q, los primeros. Bueno, caballeros, todo el mundo que cante con nosotros. Dame una D, dame una O, dame una L, dame una P, una H, una I, una N, una S. ¿Qué es lo que tenemos? Miami Dolphins. Me voy para el Super Bowl. 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 Me voy para el Super Bowl.
You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
There's a team Dolphin fans. Football is mighty rough. Winning gets awful tough. We're rooting for the Dolphins. Our mighty, mighty Dolphins. We're rooting for the Dolphins. Our mighty, mighty Dolphins.
Hello, Miami Dolphin fans, and welcome to the Same Old Dolphin Show, sponsored by BetUS, part of the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network. I'm Josh Kotzker. With me today and every day is my brother from the exact same mother, Aaron the Brain. Aaron, say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
Here we go, Brain. What a week this has been. If you knew nothing about the Miami Dolphins and what the result of their game was last Sunday, you would be positive that this team was 0-1. Because you had Tipgate on all over Dolphins Twitter, people breaking down the all-22, trying to figure out whether or not that first pass of the game was tipped or not. Completely irrelevant, by the way. But this was like a huge topic of discussion. And then you had Sean Payton talking about he thinks that Tua is going to get benched for performance reasons. And then you had Ryan Fitzpatrick, making some comments on TV. And then you had Tua himself talking about how if he can't see you, he's not going to throw it to you. Like basically acknowledging that being short is a disadvantage as quarterback, which obviously, right? And so this has, of course, led to all sorts of heated conversation in the Dolphins Twitterverse and people getting upset, people getting mad at each other, going back and forth. And it's like, dude, the Dolphins are 1-0. Not that there aren't some things to be concerned about, because I think you have, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. We've got concerns over what's going on with the offensive line. And that is a big, big question mark, right? But like people were, why is Dolphins Twitter and the Dolphins fan base, why are we always at each other's throats? Why can't we just, sit back and enjoy football?
Because this franchise hasn't given us much football to enjoy for the past 30 years.
I mean, well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, we're called the Same Old Dolphin Show for a reason, I suppose. Well, anyway, we're here. We're here to preview game 2, which actually turns out to be a pretty big game for the Miami Dolphins here, because if they can go ahead, they can go in to Baltimore, a place where they have not won for 25 years, mind you. If they can go into Baltimore and get a big win, start the season 2-0, you're then basically kind of playing with house money for these games against Buffalo and Cincinnati. I mean, in terms of the big picture and what people expected the Dolphins to do this season, or hoped the Dolphins would do this season. For everybody that was at the start of the season talking about wanting the Dolphins to make the playoffs, right? And everybody I think we can all pretty much agree that this is a successful season if the Dolphins make the playoffs. The thought was if you're going to make the playoffs, you want to get through those first 4 games 2-2, at least 2-2, right? And now if they can go in to this game in Baltimore, you're in position to do that, right? You would be then 2-0 with 2 games remaining and with an opportunity to maybe come out of those first 4 games at 3-1, or God forbid 4-0. I'm not holding my breath and saying that that's going to happen, but it's a big opportunity here for the Miami Dolphins. And you talk about Dolphin fans get upset. They're always upset about the narrative surrounding the team. And you and I could go on all day for why the narrative surrounding the team is what the narrative surrounding the team is. But if in week 2, you can go in and get another big win over Baltimore, just like you did last year, and shut down what a lot of people consider to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, that would be a pretty good statement of intent from this team, and might go some distance in changing the national narrative around this team. So we're going to get into that today, Brain. We're going to preview that game. Does that sound good to you?
I thought that's what we were here for, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's literally what we had planned on doing for this show today. So that's what we're going to do. But before we do that, a reminder to make sure you're following us on Twitter. I'm at Amplified to Rock. He is at Aaron the Brain. That's at Aaron the Brain. The show is at Same Old Dolphins. Make sure you're giving us a follow. Then subscribe to the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Shout out to everybody watching live on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel and the I Am a Miami Dolphin Fan Facebook page. We got people watching from Canada today. We got Lubbock, Texas. I think I saw a New York in there. What else we got? Ohio.
Canada,
we got a lot of different places.
Mexico.
All right. We love it. We got people watching from all over. So you can watch live too. Subscribe to the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Turn on the notifications bell and make sure you never miss an episode. And of course, if you're watching right now, click that like button, would you? Do us a favor. We appreciate it very much. Then make sure you download, rate, review, and subscribe to the Same Old Dolphins show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere that you get your podcasts. And make sure you're visiting dolphinstalk.com each and every day. It's your one-stop shop for all things Miami Dolphins. Brain. Last time the Dolphins played the Baltimore Ravens. The Dolphins started Jacoby Brissett, and Tua Tagovailoa was on the bench because he was supposedly injured. Brian Flores didn't think he was fit enough to play. But then Tua Tagovailoa comes off the bench and leads the Dolphins on this comeback victory. But the Dolphins really did a great job of confusing and ultimately shutting down Lamar Jackson with the zero blitz. So the question is, Brain, is that what the Dolphins are going to do? Because the Ravens have said over and over again that they're prepared for that and they're ready for it and they've come up with a plan. So should we expect the Dolphins to once again be throwing the zero blitz at Lamar Jackson all night long?
Well, I'd be shocked if they didn't go to it, at least in some instances. That said, last week you would have thought you would have seen it given the matchup against the Patriots. I do think one thing that the Dolphins are very cognizant of is not having Byron Jones. So knowing that a big part of the zero blitz is that you're putting your corners on an island against the wide receivers. And if you didn't do it against the Patriots wide receivers, obviously you feel good about X. But you're not going to have safety help. That's the zero blitz. You're bringing the safety down, so you've got no safety help. So that means you're putting your linebackers on, or possibly a safety on man coverage against Mark Andrews. And it means you're trusting whoever your second outside corner is, likely again Nick Needham, against the Ravens wide receivers. And I thought the Patriots missed some opportunities last week when they had Nick Needham in man coverage where they could have picked on him. And I think that the Dolphins are very cognizant of it. And so what you saw last week is that the Dolphins played a lot of cover three, and played a lot of let's keep everything in front of them. Now, that said, if you get into certain situations, I think, look, the Ravens can say till they're blue in the face that they have a plan, and they could say it with conviction, and they can believe that they have a plan. But how's the old saying go? Was it a Mike Tyson quote that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth?
That's right.
It would be dumb for the Dolphins to not try to punch them in the mouth and see if they truly can handle it. But at the same time, you don't want to come in here and say, like, our game plan is to go out and do the same thing that we did last year. They're just two different teams. It's different personnel. It's different coaches. There's different experiences and different preparations that go into it. So I don't think you're going to see the exact same game plan. And obviously without Byron Jones in there, I think the Dolphins should be a little bit more cautious as far as bringing
it's Cater
the
Kohu
zero
season,
pressure.
though.
Well, are you ready to just say, hey, Cater Kohu is the guy and he's going to be the number 2 corner? We're going to put him on the outside and we're going to put him on an island with no safety help over the top?
Listen, I feel
if you're going to do it against a wide receiving core like this, and you put X on Bateman and you say, all right, Cater Kohu can cover, Devin Duvernay.
There you
or
go.
whatever. But I don't know. I don't feel terribly confident in that second corner spot. So I think it is smart to play things a little bit cautious.
Well, let me ask you this, because
go ahead.
this is another factor in this game, right? Because obviously the thought of bringing those zero blitzes into to Lamar Jackson is something that the Dolphins are clearly going to be thinking about. But here's something else to consider, is that the Ravens offensive line is really banged up right now, right? That they've lost Juwan Jenkins for the season. And we know that Ronnie Stanley is doubtful for this game. So this is a banged up Ravens offensive line. Is there a world where the Dolphins are just able to generate enough pressure on Lamar Jackson without having to bring the zero blitzes so that they can sort of just keep that in their back pocket?
Absolutely. That's where I was going with this. When you started bringing up the injury to Juwan James, it looks like Ronnie Stanley's not going to play. Look, if they're down their top two tackles, like, maybe we don't need to bring all this pressure. I
wouldn't know anything about teams being without their top two tackles.
We'll
talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to the Dolphins on the offensive side of the ball in a bit. But I think you can generate some pressure. And look, you could still blitz, but I don't think you want to leave yourself completely overexposed and put too much pressure on that number two corner. Whether it's Needham, whether it's Kohu, whether it's Crossan, whoever it is. I just don't think that you need to do that. I think the bigger question really is, particularly on the defense side of the ball, is how do the Dolphins stack up against this Ravens rushing attack? Can they shut down Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson was he banged up going into that game last year, or did he get hurt after that game?
I think that was the game where the Dolphins basically they did it to him.
But if you look
at
the beginning,
him physically, they also hurt him mentally.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the beginning of that game, the Ravens were moving the ball up and down the field, just running all over Miami. And then the Dolphins defense kind of took over. And then they got a defensive score. And then once they went up 2 scores, that's when they really pinned their ears back and Baltimore had no answer for it.
Right.
So, I think this is going to be the kind of game where I think the Ravens are going to have a better sense of how to attack the Dolphins. I'd be shocked if they didn't. But at the end of the day, stopping the Ravens offense is really about containing Lamar Jackson, not letting him run wild, and stopping the run. Because if you could stop the run and you can force Lamar Jackson to try to beat you with his arm, that is not his strong suit. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's not his strong suit.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole key. You gotta make Lamar Jackson a pocket passer. You have to limit his ability to run. Now, there's another element to this, which is the fact that he's in this contract negotiation with Baltimore, and there seems to be this issue of they've relied too much on him being the runner and these designed runs. I think there were only 2 or 3 of them in the last game, in the game that they played against the Jets, but they struggled running the ball against the Jets. I mean, they ran the ball 21 times for 63 yards. That is not great numbers on the ground for the Baltimore Ravens. Granted, they were without their 2 big running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They were without both of them, and they were relying on Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake to run the ball for them. But Lamar Jackson himself only had 17 yards on 6 carries. So, I mean, the run game is not what it was. And again, a lot of that could come down to the beat up offensive line. But if the Dolphins can successfully really make Lamar Jackson beat them through the air, and we saw that he was able to do that. He hit a couple of long touchdown passes to Devin Duvernay in the game against the Jets in week 1. He was able to make a couple of connections, and there were other opportunities that they had. But I think the Dolphins are perfectly fine saying, listen, Lamar Jackson, if you can beat us through the air when we bring the zero blitz, then God bless you. So be it. But I think they are very much prepared to walk into that game and say, that's the challenge. If you can do it, good for you.
Yeah, and when you look at the Jets week 1 performance, or the Ravens week 1 performance against the Jets, it's not like they had some great offensive game, and it's not like they, Lamar Jackson really just hit that one big deep pass to Rashad Bateman, who was their best receiver in that game. And well, I mean, you can make the case Mark Andrews because he had 5 catches, but Rashad Bateman, ultimately their leading receiver because of one 55-yard catch. They really didn't, produce a lot on the outside against the Jets secondary that really isn't that good. So I really just think it comes down to, can you stop the Ravens from running the ball early? If you can get them out of what they want to do, and you can force them into some second and third and long situations, then you can get confusing. You can play some zero blitzes. You can throw some exotics in there. I think one thing that I would be curious to see is if we see a lot more of Channing Tindall in this game, because we saw in the preseason, particularly against, I want to say it was against the Jets. It was against somebody that had like a running quarterback in the preseason, where Channing Tindall was doing a lot of spying. And this would be the kind of game where you would use some of that, particularly, maybe on like those third and long situations. Maybe you drop like 8 into coverage and you spy Lamar Jackson, and but if you're going to spy somebody because you're taking them out of coverage and you're basically assigning them the quarterback, they better be able to keep up with the quarterback, and Tindall would profile as that guy. You're not going to do that with a Landon Roberts. So I think this is an opportunity to get Channing Tindall on the field a little bit more and see what he can do. But with the problems that the Ravens have on the offensive line injury wise, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic for what this Dolphins defense can do, especially considering what they did to the Ravens offense in the matchup just a year ago.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big opportunity for the Dolphins, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's all set up for them to have a lot of success again when it comes to playing defense. When it comes to playing offense, however, it's going to be a little bit of a different story, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, listen, Brain, we talked about this last time. Smooth sack summer is slowly coming to an end. And if you haven't been scaping for the summer sun, it's not too late to sweep your sack of those pesky pubes. As summer comes to an end and we enter fall, keep your boys clean and fresh just in time for what, Brain?
Refresh my memory.
It's fresh ball fall.
Fresh ball fall. That's right.
Or oddball autumn. Whatever you prefer.
Oddball autumn. I like that.
Oddball autumn.
Yeah, I like it. It's got some nice alliteration.
Good. Well, that's kind of what they go for in these ad reads, as we've seen. But either way, whatever the case may be, you want to go to manscaped.com, because we've got an exclusive offer for you. If you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code DolphinsTalk, you'll save 20% off and get free shipping worldwide. So our friends watching in Canada and Mexico, you're going to get free shipping at Manscaped as well. So you can get the Performance Package 4.0, which has everything you need to keep your sweet, sweet sack in check. Inside this package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, which is very important, right, Brain? You don't want to get some grooming accidents.
As somebody who suffered from a grooming accident prior to having Manscaped, I can attest to that.
It would, if you have a grooming accident, it really will be oddball autumn. So listen, you got to get that ceramic blade. It's also waterproof. So whether you're in the shower or hitting up the lake, this razor will devour even the strongest of pubes. So now that your sack is smooth, lather up with Manscaped's liquid formulations. Get that fresh fall freshness. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant to stay cool in the heat. Their soothing aloe vera formula is the best in the business, and that's for real. Smells really good. It's the best in the business, and for below the waist freshness and clear drying formula, it keeps your sack looking and smelling good. You'll also get the travel bag, the boxers, which are really comfortable. It's really good situation for you. So head over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code Dolphins Talk. You're going to get 20% off. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Dolphins Talk at manscaped.com. Keep things smooth and fresh as we say sayonara to smooth ball summer and enter fresh ball fall, also known as odd ball autumn. There it is. That's the Manscaped read, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is.
We love it. We love a little bit of a little bit of a Manscaped read. All right, here we go. So let's go to the other side of the ball. Dolphins on offense. Now, before we get anywhere into what the Dolphins are going to need to do on offense to be successful in this game, we got to first talk about the Dolphins' injury situation on the offensive line. Austin Jackson on short-term IR. For now, anyway, he's going to miss at least 4 weeks of action. So Greg Little set to get the start at right tackle. Terron Armstead, this is a very muddy situation here that he's dealing with some sort of injury, but is also on non-injury related, just veteran rest. They seem to be really kind of carefully monitoring his workload during the week. So my suspicion is that while he is listed as questionable and he was a limited participant in practice on Friday, my belief is that he will probably end up playing on Sunday. If he doesn't, then you get into the situation where things are really stretched on the Dolphins offensive line, because then you're looking at probably having to start Robert Hunt at, kicking, or, I mean, you could probably kick Robert Hunt out to the other tackle. And
well, they showed you what they would do is that they would put Hunt at right tackle and then play Robert Jones at right guard, and then Little would move over to the left side and play left tackle. It's not ideal, but that would likely be what they do. I guess they could also, if they wanted to, they could potentially play Eichenberg at left tackle, but that opens up another. Well, I guess if you put Eichenberg at left tackle, then you keep Little on the right side, and then Robert Jones plays one of the guard spots. That something like that. And you hope
I don't know how good I
come.
feel about Eichenberg at tackle, quite frankly.
I don't know how good I feel about any of these guys at tackle.
And so that's the whole
not
problem
named.
here.
That's not named Terron Armstead.
Right. And that therein lies the problem, as the Dolphins offensive line is really going to have its depth challenged if Terron Armstead is not able to go and play. They say it's a pain tolerance thing. He's getting used to something. Listen, you knew when the Dolphins went out and signed Terron Armstead that they were not just signing him, they were also signing his whatever, the fact that he's injury prone, right? The fact that he has rarely, if ever, played a complete season. And so this is a tough situation. Yes, the Dolphins did just sign an offensive tackle who had spent some time in Seattle. They've signed him to the practice squad. Word is that he is not quite in game shape yet. So I wouldn't expect to see him on the game day roster unless they absolutely had to. So I think if you're a Dolphin fan, you got to really hope that Terron Armstead is going to be able to go out there and play meaningful football for you on Sunday, because without him, it really puts a lot of questions out there. Assuming he plays, the Dolphins know what they need to do, right? What they need to do is try to figure out if they can establish the run. The New York Jets had a little bit of success running the ball against this tough Baltimore defensive front, because, I mean, this offensive line is, no matter what, going to have its hands full. But can the Dolphins establish the run, and will that allow them to open things up? That is the question. Now, on the other side, where we talked about how Lamar Jackson, the Dolphins were going to try to want to keep him contained, I think if you are the Ravens, you're trying to get to Tua Tagovailoa and trying to get him off of his reads and trying to make him uncomfortable and make him make decisions on the fly, because that is, as we've seen, that is a weak spot for Tua, right? He struggles when he has to go off script, when he has to move outside of the box and he has to be on the run and make some sort of decision in the moment. We've seen him struggle with that time and time again. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that became like a big time area of focus for the Ravens in this game. Of course, the Ravens dealing with problems defensively on their own. I mean, almost all of their cornerbacks are questionable at the very least. Marlon Humphrey is questionable with a groin injury. Marcus Peters may play in this game. He's listed as questionable, hasn't played in a game since 2020. So what kind of impact does he have if he can play remains to be seen. Brandon Stevens is listed as questionable with a quad injury, and Kyle Fuller, of course, is already out for the year with a knee injury. So this is a Ravens secondary that is beat up. And now you've got Dolphins receivers with a lot of speed. There is an opportunity here for the Dolphins for Tua to make some passes, for receivers to get open. There are opportunities here, Brain. The question is whether the Dolphins will be able to take advantage of them.
Yeah, that's always going to be the question. And until we've seen it consistently from Tua, that's going to continue to be the question. I would say that when you look at the injuries that the Ravens have in their secondary, and Marcus Peters, it looks like might play this game, but he hasn't played in over a year. And then their next two top corners are questionable. It looks like Humphrey may be out for this game. Fuller is out for this game. And that's not a good situation to be in for Baltimore, going up against a team that has the firepower that the Dolphins have in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So I think if you're the Ravens, you go at this and you say, well, we're not going to let Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle run wild against our secondary. So we're going to play a lot of zone coverage. We're going to play a lot of off coverage. And we're going to trust our defensive line to beat the Dolphins in the trenches and stop the run. The Dolphins have not shown that they can run the ball against a team that is adept at stopping the run. And yes, the Jets had some success ripping off some chunk plays on the ground against the Ravens, but they didn't really have sustained success. And so will there be opportunities there? Sure. The Dolphins are going to have some opportunities there to make it happen, but I don't feel terribly confident about it coming into this. I actually think this might be a situation, and we might see this all season, where the Dolphins' best running game is the short passing game, because teams are going to have to respect the speed of Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You saw it just last week, that the amount of separation that Tyreek Hill gets because he is so explosive and teams have to respect his ability to get behind the defense is that, he gets 5 yards of separation on a 15-yard comeback route because because they're just terrified that he's just going to blow right by them. So those, I think you're going to see hitch screens. You're going to see tunnel screens. I think you're going to see the Dolphins try to attack the Ravens up the gut and try to beat them with the running game and the short passing game and make the Ravens suck them in and then maybe take your shot downfield. But I'd be shocked if the Ravens allowed the Dolphins to take big chunk plays down the field early in this game without first proving that they can move the ball underneath and really get sustained drives going with the running game.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what we should expect. Then again, I could also see a situation where the Ravens are kind of daring the Dolphins to beat them over the top, just like you got to make this quarterback prove he can beat you over the top. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying there are teams that probably don't believe that he can necessarily, and they're gonna challenge him and test him.
But there's no reason to do that unless the team proves that they can run the ball, because if the team can't run the ball, it's not about who the quarterback is and whether or not he can beat you over the top. That those wide receivers, particularly Tyreek Hill, can get open down the field. And that even if Tua doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, he could throw the ball 40 to 50 yards and hit Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill gets behind the defense. That can happen. But there's no reason for them to say, oh, we're going to man up our corners against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and put 8 guys in the box if you can't run the ball against them when they have 7 in the box.
Well,
so, look, the reason that this offense, the way this offense is built and the way this offense is going to have success is by running the football. If they cannot run the football, then the offense is going to look, even though it's got more dynamic weapons and they've got more abilities to make chunk plays after the catch, the offense in general will look very similar to the offense that it's been the last couple of years, which is a lot of dinking and dunking and short passing game. You're not going to get the big downfield throws unless you can get the opposing defense to really buy into the fact that your running game is a threat. Until the running game is a serious threat, then teams will just play the off coverage. They'll put 2 safeties back there. They'll play cover 2. They'll play cover 3. And they'll say, look, prove that you can move the ball down the field and score a touchdown in 12 to 15 plays. Because if you can't do that consistently, then, what are you going to score? You're going to score somewhere between 13 to 20 points. And if we keep you to 13 to 20 points, we feel like we've got a good chance to win.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. And the hope is that the Dolphins will be able to get that outside run game going, because that is an area where the Jets had success against the Ravens last week. So if the Dolphins are able to get that going, then that is a door that is open to everything else that they would like to do. The question is, will they be able to do it? And that is the question that we're going to answer in just a moment when we make our predictions. Brain, it's almost prediction time. But first, support for today's episode comes from True Classic. I am wearing my True Classic long sleeve black Henley right now. This brand new sponsor is the absolute best fitting t-shirts a man can buy. Of course, not just t-shirts. Like I said, got the Henley on right now. Finding the right t-shirt with a little bit of a dad bod is incredibly frustrating because most t-shirts are either way too tight on your gut or look way too big and boxy. You're not in high school anymore, and it's time to upgrade. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find a better fit at an affordable price, and our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code DolphinsTalk at trueclassic.com. Listen, almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with 6-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. So fellas, you're wearing the wrong clothes. True Classics tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. So it's time to highlight your best attributes with the t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. Of course, True Classic doesn't just stop at tees. They're also your one-stop shop for men's essentials. Super easy and simple to fill out your wardrobe. From polos and workout shirts with the same flattering fit to boxer briefs designed with a pouch to keep your bulge nice and comfortable. All of their gear is top-notch quality at reasonable prices. They just introduced chinos a few weeks ago, and 2 days ago I got a text message. They've now got jeans. They've got a dark indigo jean, a kind of a dark slate gray jean, and a black jean. Really good stuff out there. So guys, head over to trueclassic.com, learn how to dress yourself properly and upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com with the code DolphinsTalk. You get free shipping included on purchases over $100 and 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. Stay classy with True Classic. Your dad bod will thank you. So what you do is you get all set up for fresh ball fall, and then you get your pouch, your True Classic boxer briefs, you get your True Classic jeans, your True Classic t-shirt, you get your True Classic hoodie, you're all set, you're ready to go.
It's a good situation.
It is. It's a very good situation, honestly. I love my True Classics. All of my t-shirts, my hoodies. I was wearing my blue hoodie this morning. Went out for a nice walk outside. It was brisk morning here in central New York, buddy. It was a nice 45 degrees this morning on the walk. I was living for it, baby.
Oh, it was nice and overcast here around 6 o'clock for my post-work walk. It was a nice, cool 82 degrees.
Ooh, delightful. Sounds lovely. All right, Brent, it's prediction time. And listen, when we did our season predictions, we went week by week through the calendar. I had this down as a loss, I think, for the Dolphins.
As did I.
And I got to be honest with you. I'm leaning the other way right now.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a Kool-Aid drinking situation, but I look at the situation and I look at the Dolphins roster. I look at the Ravens roster. They're a little beat up. And part of me thinks this is it. We're winning in Baltimore for the first time in 25 years. So my prediction, Brain, it's an overtime win. The Dolphins win it on the leg of Jason Sanders, 23-20.
All right. I'll say this. All week last week, the Dolphins did absolutely nothing to change my mind about what this team is. They were exactly who I thought they were. Good defensive performance, questionable on the offensive side of the ball, some explosiveness on the outside to get excited about, but still question marks about the quarterback, question marks about the offensive line, question marks about the running game. So I find it hard to come into this game and all of a sudden say, well, I picked the Dolphins to lose this game. But after week one, I've changed my mind, because they didn't do anything to change my mind. Now, I will say the injury stuff is very interesting. And I do think it looks more like Terron Armstead is going to play than he's not going to play. I believe he's going to play, and I think he'll be fine. And I think this is a case where he's got some little nagging thing that's not a big deal. And you saw the way they've kind of treated him with kid gloves throughout the preseason and training camp. And I think this is going to be the case throughout the year. I think they're just going to say, look, we're not going to overwork Terron Armstead. We need him to be out there on Sundays. That's what we paid him for. And I think that's what we're going to see. But I will say, I am concerned, and I've got an eye on that, because if Terron Armstead doesn't play, or he does play and he's banged up and he aggravates something and he comes out of the game, you're now one injury away from Larnell Coleman making an appearance on this field.
Nobody wants to see that.
Terrifies me. And I don't feel confident that the Dolphins are going to run the ball. I do think we're going to be able to move the ball, but if you're moving the ball down the field and you got to do it in 10 to 15 play drives, at some point to score a touchdown, you're going to need to be able to run the football, and those windows get tight. And that's when you start to wonder about Tua and having the arm stretch or the arm strength to fit it into the tight windows. Does he make a mistake? Do we see the continuance of he gets put under pressure and he tries to do a little too much and he makes a stupid throw and he has a turnover? Because we saw it a few times last week and he was lucky not to have the turnover there. So maybe that happens in this game. I do think this is going to be a defensive struggle where both teams really are able to move the ball a little bit, but struggle to get consistency in the red zone. And I think what this comes down to is obviously which offense makes the big mistake, which defense makes the big play, a bounce here, a bounce there. I think this is going to be a really close, low-scoring game. But also, who do you trust more in this game? In a game in Baltimore, close game, do you trust Lamar Jackson to make the big play in crunch time, or do you trust Tua Tagovailoa in crunch time to make the big play? At this point, I think, especially with the game being in Baltimore, I think if the answer to that is anything other than Lamar Jackson, then you're probably a Dolphins fan. And I think this is a winnable game for Miami, and this is a really big game to win, because like you said, if they manage to come away with a win, and even if they lose the next two, if you could come out of this first 4 games 2-2, not to mention the fact that it's a big conference victory against a team that you may ultimately be battling and jockeying for playoff position against, this is a chance to really put yourself in position. We're looking at the remaining of the schedule. Obviously, you got to go a game at a time to put yourself in position to win double-digit games and really make a statement and be a playoff team. And that doesn't say that's not to say it's a must-win game, but it is a big game. But I think in Baltimore, in this situation, until Miami can prove it, I'm not taking a whole lot out of that game against the Patriots. I think the Patriots might be a bad football team, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. I need to see a little bit more from the Dolphins before I believe it, before I believe that game last year wasn't more than just kind of a fluke.
So what's the score?
So I'm picking, I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Dolphins are in position to win this game, 19-17. And now I think we're going to get our first real criticism of Josh Boyer, because I think the Dolphins go into a really conservative game plan down the stretch. Instead of going cover 0 and bringing pressure at the end of the game, I think the Dolphins go into a cover 3 shell, and they allow the Ravens to drive down the field, and Jason Tucker kicks a 50-plus yard field goal to win this game 20-19.
Justin Tucker.
What did I call him? Jason Tucker?
You said Jason Tucker.
Well, I was thinking Jason Sanders. Justin Tucker.
So you're predicting this to be a very same old Dolphins kind of loss.
Have we seen anything that would tell us that this would be anything else?
I mean, if it was a traditional same old Dolphins loss in Baltimore, they would get blown out of the water. And I mean, that's certainly in the universe of possibilities that exists. I'm not expecting that. As I said, I predict that the Dolphins are going to win this game.
I'll say this. I'll say this. If the Dolphins lose a close game, and granted, if they lose it in that fashion, I'm going to be pretty pissed off, and I'm fully expecting myself to be pissed off. It's not going to change my mind about anything about this team if they lose a close game. If they get blown out in this game against a Ravens team that has this many injuries, this team's not winning 10 games. Like, right now coming into this game, I'm expecting the Dolphins to be in a close game, could go either way. Win or lose. If they win or lose a close game, not really changing my mind about where this team finishes at the end of the year. But if they get blown out by this Ravens team, then the idea of this team being a playoff team just is laughable if they get blown out in this game.
Well, like I said, that certainly exists in the universe of possibilities, but I don't believe that is something that is going to happen here. And so I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed that it doesn't. So I think that's it, Brain. That wraps it up. Big opportunity here for the Dolphins listen, you want to be a playoff team, you're going up against a team that you're going to be right there with at the end of the season. So let's see what happens. I'm pumped. You're pumped. Sunday's going to be fun. Listen, I also got to let you know that I'm going to be a little bit of a game time decision on Sunday. In addition to Terron Armstead, I'm going to be a game time decision. I've got I'm dealing with a little groin injury right now.
Ooh.
Supposed to run a 5K on Sunday. I'm dealing with a groin injury, and I'm going to be a game time decision. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can make it happen. If I can perform on Sunday, if I can grit it out. Otherwise, Larnell Coleman might have to run the 5K for me. So, all right, that's it. There it is. What are your thoughts? Let's see. I got predictions coming in here. Let's see. Steve Malloy says defense keeps the Dolphins in the game. They win 20-17. We got Justin Santos is 21-17. Miami. What other predictions we got here? I think I saw one from Patrick Mullen. He predicted that the Dolphins win 17-14. Cap for Life says 23-14 Fins. You got some good picks coming in. Anybody else got some here?
Cocky Dolphins fan is just, September cocky Dolphins fan is just, this is the season.
Oh, I mean, September is Dolphin fans.
Smooth sack summer is the time for the cocky Dolphin fan.
No, the cocky Dolphin fan time to shine is fresh ball fall in October, because October is where the Dolphins typically start to turn things around, and that's when people get excited. But in the meantime, listen, I mean, starting 2-0. When's the last time the Dolphins started 2-0? 2018?
That year that they started 3-0.
Yeah. So how did that turn out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So listen, if the Dolphins start this season 3-0, this fan base is going to be unbearable, because that means we've beaten the Bills.
Yeah, my wife, we were talking, and she makes fun of us, and makes fun of me, because whenever I start to get a little bit positive, she just starts shaking her head and says, "Oh, there you go, you're buying in," and then she kind of brings me back down to earth, and I was telling her about, well, if the Dolphins can manage to win this game,
unbelievable.
It kind of opens your eyes a little bit and says, okay, well, maybe this team can make the playoffs. And she says, well, what if they go 3-0? And I said, if they go 3-0, I'm buying playoff tickets.
Hey, let's go, baby. Let's go. Listen, if the Dolphins go through, remember.
Actually, she said, what if they go 4-0? Because, I mean, honestly, we've seen this team go. If they go 4-0, I'm buying playoff tickets.
If they go 4-0, meaning that they've defeated the Buffalo Bills and gone on the road on a short week and defeated the Cincinnati Bengals. If they go 4-0, I mean, if they go 4-0, I'm feeling very excited, and also holding my breath that they don't collapse and start losing a bunch of those games that they're not supposed to lose in the middle of the season, because that would be the same old Dolphins thing to do.
The same old Dolphins wouldn't go 4-0 in this stretch. I don't care. I mean, if this team goes 4-0, they're staring at a possibility of 11-0.
Yeah, they're looking at
but it's not going to happen. This is the part of the show where, if you've stuck around this long, you've seen us go completely off the rails and start sipping on Kool-Aid, because
it's very clearly water, or is it?
Yeah, is it? Let's see what happens this Sunday. I'm at a point right now where everything is kind of going as expected. If they manage to come away with a win in this one, I think this one could go either way. And I think this is the kind of game where you look back at the end of the season and you say, if you've won this game, this was kind of the reason why you made the playoffs. And if you lost this game, this is the one where you say, that one, that if we would have won that game, that one would have gotten us in. So we'll see what happens. And if you win this game, then we'll get very excited going into next game for a big time showdown against Buffalo, which, again, I won't be holding my breath about, but then we'll have some real reason for excitement going into that one.
Could you imagine? Listen, by the way, I should mention that as we are live on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, by the way, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much. The Dolphins are currently the number 2 seed in the AFC. So
they're right where you want to be. Right where you want to be. 1 week into the season. Look, 1 week into the season.
Look, if you're going to be somewhere,
everything is going swimmingly.
Might as well be number 2 seed in the AFC. The only reason they're not, I mean, the number 2 seed, because Kansas City's 2-0. Spoiler alert. What do you think the reaction would have been if Tua threw a 99-yard pick six? Like Justin Herbert did.
He needs to be benched. You need to play Skylar Thompson. I'll tell my one takeaway of that game was not the pick six, although I think obviously that was a huge play in the game and it was a huge turnaround. But Justin Herbert got hit hard in the fourth quarter and apparently broke his rib. And it seemed pretty obvious that he broke
cartilage. He has a rib cartilage fracture.
Okay. So he broke his rib, or whatever you want to call it. He was clearly in immense pain.
Yes.
And on a fourth down, threw a 30-yard rope on a dime to Joshua Palmer. And I watched that and I said, this man with a broken rib just made a pass that Tua cannot make fully healthy.
Well, thank you for listening to the Same Old Dolphin Show, everybody. We better get out of town before this thing goes off the rails.
Oh, we could talk about the possibility of the Dolphins going an 11-0, but we can't state the obvious that throw that Justin Herbert made in that last game is a throw that Tua cannot make.
Well, yeah, I will say it is. I'm not going to say it's a throw that he can't make. I'm going to say it's
make
a throw
that. He could lob that over and maybe, the receiver runs up. He's not throwing a 30, 40 yard rope like that right on the. It's just not. We haven't seen that. And I don't think we're ever going to see that. He can't even throw a rope like that on a 15-yard out. I'm not saying he can't be a successful quarterback. I don't think Drew Brees could make that throw.
Yeah,
that Justin Herbert made in that game. The fact that he did it with a broken rib is that much more amazing. But the fact that he can do that with a broken rib and Tua can't do that fully healthy.
I mean, it was a hell of a pass. And as I learned on Facebook today, our father believes the Dolphins should have drafted Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. He said it on Facebook, so it must be true. So,
well, we know for a fact that, particularly you, but I was in the same boat that we definitely wanted the Dolphins to draft Tua. It's on video. It went viral.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, my reaction went viral.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It is what it is. We wanted that guy, and to be perfectly honest with you, 90% of Miami Dolphins fans wanted them to choose Justin Herbert.
Exactly.
I mean, wanted
them to choose Tua. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
they wanted them to choose Tua, and now they're changing the story. I'm not going to do that. I wanted them to draft Tua. They drafted Tua, and now we're finding that maybe Tua is not quite the answer. Who knows?
We are to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Mullen, Aaron and Josh screwed us with a jinx. This franchise has been jinxed. Maybe not long before us. since they built it on. It's the curse of the Tequestas. The burial ground. It's the curse of Joe Robbie Stadium.
It's the Tequesta curse. That's it.
They need to move into Marlins Park, Office Depot Park, whatever that park is called now, and go and tear it down, rebuild the Orange Bowl, and then everything will be right in the world again.
That's right. I should mention the Dolphins also could have drafted Lamar Jackson, but they didn't do that either.
Stephen Ross wanted them to do that, and he got laughed out of the room by Chris Greer and Adam Gase. Yet somehow Chris Greer still manages to have.
Well, if there's anything we've learned recently, it's that whatever Stephen Ross wants, he really tries hard to get and then screws up.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's definitely his track record.
So, all right, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. We will be back Monday to talk about whatever happens in the game on Sunday. And then we will be, for this upcoming week, we will be back on our regular Thursday night. And then after that, the Dolphins have a Thursday night game. And I don't know if Mike has announced this yet, but we are bringing back the live watch along that we did last year when the Dolphins had the Monday night game against the New Orleans Saints. We did here on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, on the I'm a Miami Dolphin fan Facebook page. We had a live watch along where Mike and I were watching the game and reacting to it live, interacting with fans as the game was going on. We're going to be doing that again for that Thursday night game against Cincinnati, except Mike and I are going to be in the same room. We're going to be set up together. It's happening. The watch along is happening for the Week 4 game Thursday night, Amazon Prime, Dolphins, Bengals. We want you to join us here on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel and the I Am a Miami Dolphin fan Facebook page. We might have some special guests joining us. We might have some surprises. It might just be Mike and I sitting around eating chicken wings, watching football. But whatever the case may be, we hope that you will join us. So download, rate, review, and subscribe to the Same Old Dolphin Show. Subscribe to the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Amplified to Rock, at Aaron the Brain, at Same Old Dolphins. Leave us a 5-star rating. Leave us a positive review. Smash that like button, folks, and we will talk to you on Monday. As always, take care of yourselves and each other. We will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Go Dolphins!
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet, maybe.